Now, if you're thinking brand, me, I'm an accountant, a contractor, or a dentist. What does branding have to do with me? Then you, my friends, are exactly who I'm talking to. That's right. The online world has shifted, as we know, in a massive way. And understanding that change is really critical, no matter what profession you're in, right? I said it before and I'll say it again. We're moving beyond just broad social connections, right? People aren't just scrolling aimlessly through their feeds anymore. Maybe they are, but I don't think they are. They're seeking out content that really aligns with their specific passions, immediate needs, and really their deepest curiosity. And that right there is where your expertise, your unique value gets to shine, right? So let's uncover that, that new landscape and talk about how you, yes, you, can build a powerful, authentic brand within it. What's up, everyone? This is Fit for Business with Jarod Lehn. This is episode 81. I want to kick things off with a fundamental question, right? I think I said it a couple of episodes again before this. What exactly is interest media, you ask? Think about it this way. For years, traditional social media platforms focused on connecting you with friends, family, and acquaintances, right? Connect the dots, right? That's how Facebook started. It was really about your social graph, let's call it. Who knew they were up to, right? Excuse me. Who you knew, what they were up to, right? How are their kids growing? What job are they doing lately? Where did they go? The content was broad, like I said, family, vacation photos, political debates, memes, baby pictures, and it just all flowed by, often without a clear purpose beyond interaction. Those times have really changed, and it really changed progressively when TikTok came around, YouTube, and even Instagram Reels, right? Even niches like subreddits or specialized online communities, they're built differently, right? So they've been designed to serve you content-based interest on your feed, right? Like if you watch one video about restoring antique furnitures, TikTok's algorithm is now going to feed you more of that, right? If you search for how to fix a leaky faucet on YouTube, now you're going to be shown countless tutorials, right? People like us, you and me, they're seeking out specific information, specific venues, specific entertainment, specific communities, and these platforms are becoming highly effective at just delivering that, right? Think about this. You're on Facebook, if you still utilize the platform, you scroll. Do you still see like your closest friends, your closest relatives, or your acquaintance content? Or are you being fed other content on your feed? I can't remember the last time I've seen one of my closest friends' content. It's been like, unless I physically go to their profile, then that content is fed to me. It used to be the other way around. You would just see everybody's stuff, right? For someone like me, who's constantly trying to refine my messaging and reach such, the right audience, that for me was a game changer, right? Over the past year, right? It means not just, hey, I'm shouting into the void, hoping you guys are going to hear me. Now I'm entering conversations where people are, more ready and eager to listen to something I say specifically. For instance, this piece. Let's put this into perspective for you, right? If you're a dentist, right? Call dentist. Think about this. Interest media isn't about posting pictures of your dinner, right? It's about creating a 15 to 30-second TikTok video showing three, quick tips for whiter teeth, right? Or a 60-second, reel demonstrating the right way to floss your front teeth, right? You're probably doing it wrong. Or if you're a contractor, imagine a YouTube short video taking viewers before a beautiful before and after of a kitchen renovation, highlighting the tricky structural challenge you overcame, right? Or nerding out as an accountant, right? You could create short, digestible Instagram carousels, right? Pictures, infographics, understanding the new tax deduction for your home offices, right? These aren't broad social media updates. They're hyper focused on pieces of content that are really designed to resonate with someone who has specific interest or need that you can address now. And that's the power of this media, this form, interest media, right? It cuts through the void, it cuts through the noise, and directly connects you with the people who need your expertise the most, if that's what you're going for. And this is all geared towards if this is what you're looking for, if this is looking who you're trying to attract. Now, now we understand, hopefully, again, what interest media is, and I'm going to continue to talk about this through, future episodes. I want to talk about really here why building your brand in this environment isn't just a nice to have. I think it's really a crucial component of modern success. Think about people. If this is you, shame on you. Yes, I said it. Shame on you for hiding behind the barrel of a camera, not wanting to get in front of your phone or using a DSLR camera. Shame on you. Where have you been? Why have you been avoiding it? Because you don't think it pertains to you? You're missing out on the boat. Trust me. For years, we've all stressed the importance of being visible online. It's not about being vanity. It's not being about, hey, let everybody see me 1,000 times and hear what I have to spew out of my mouth. That's not what it's about. It's about credibility. It's about trust. In this world where everyone's Googling everything, right? Or everybody's going on the SEO portion of TikTok or Instagram. If you're not visible, you're practically invisible. I'll say that again. If you're not visible, you're practically invisible, guys. But visibility alone is not enough, right? Anyone can buy ads. Pretty much anyone can run ads if you know how to do it. What truly resonates is when you see an expert as someone you can trust, not somebody that's trying to sell you on something, right? And interest media provides really an unparalleled opportunity to forge that connection. Instead of just advertising your services, you're sharing content that's value-driven content. You're demonstrating your knowledge. You're showing, not just telling, what you bring to the table, right? When I started truly embracing this, I realized it wasn't becoming about a fucking influencer in the traditional sense, but becoming a go-to resource for specific people, right? People start coming to me not because they saw a random ad, but they consume my content. They learn more about our company. They recognize me and my expertise, right? And here's one big thing that I constantly remind myself, and my clients. Building a brand does not mean you have to share your personal life. You don't have to. This is a common misconception that scares many professionals away. Keep your family out of it. It could be all about you and your business. Your brand and interest media should focus on your work, your expertise, and the value you bring to your clients or customers, right? For example, that dentist isn't sharing photos of their kid's soccer game, right? They're really sharing a quick tip, professional dental tips, right? The contractor isn't posting vacation selfies, right? They're showcasing their incredible renovation projects. Your privacy can be maintained while you build a professional, powerful brand, right? I think I remember a time when I was struggling to differentiate myself. I felt like I was just another voice in a crowded room. But then I really kind of doubling down and started focusing on consistent content that addressed what, many of you that are here today seeing my content, right? For my ideal audience. It wasn't overnight. It was slowly. I started noticing, more followers, more comments here and there, and DMs out on the back end, a lot of DMs. They started coming to me, and that's the direct correlation between providing value and really attracting the right opportunity for you, whatever that may be. And it's what brand building in interest media, it's really about, guys. It's about attracting, right? Not chasing. That's how you do it, right? So how do you actually, build your brand in this era of interest media? It probably seems daunting, but breaking it down in these actionable steps, probably going to be more manageable for you guys, right? Trust me, this is not me saying, hey, let me and my team help you manage your brand. That's not what this is about. I don't want to do that for you. I just want to say, hey, as someone who's constantly iterating my own brand presence, these steps are from me to you, right? And who am I? I'm Jarod. Thanks for listening along. So let's talk about step one. Standard, typical, fundamental, rudimentary shit here. Seriously, identify your niche and your audience. This is who is fundamental. Who are you trying to reach, and what specific problems or passions do they care about? Not what do you care about, what do they care about? Don't try to appeal to everyone, all billion users on a platform, right? If you're a real estate agent, maybe your niche isn't just home buyers, right? But first-time home buyers in suburban areas looking for eco-friendly features. Could be something. The more specific and you niche down, the easier it is to create targeted content for those that truly resonate, right? For me, narrowing down, speaking directly to people's pain points, and I saw, the engagement and the followers increase. Step two, create value-driven content, right? This is where your expertise shines, right? Just don't promote your services, share tips, insights, behind the scenes, common mistakes, best practices, right? For the contractor, it might be a quick video on how to spot a bad foundation before you buy, right? For the accountant, it should be a checklist, something like small business tax deductions, what you might be missing, right? Think about what questions do your clients constantly ask, right? What knowledge can you share that genuinely helps someone, right? Hey, I found that the more I give, the more I attract the people what I do, right? I mean, how many times can we preach about this? Choose the right platform. You can't put all your eggs in one basket, but at the same time, try and grow where you can. Focus on where your ideal audience spends their time. If you're targeting corporate clients, as B2B, LinkedIn, right? That's where the leadership is. If you're a fitness coach, Instagram, TikTok, right? If you're a software developer, maybe it's GitHub, maybe it's Reddit. For me, I made the mistake early on trying to be everywhere. I do push my content everywhere. And for right now, Instagram is my total, that's where like a lot of my viewers come from, totally focusing on these key platforms and just trying to do what we're doing to, stay consistent and be out there, right? And just stay consistent. That's what it's about. This is probably the hardest step, but it's vital. Post regularly, engage, stay consistent, and it builds the trust over time, right? It doesn't mean daily, but it means reliability, right? If you commit to once a week, stick to it. People start to expect your content, and that expectation builds loyalty, right? I've seen the dips in engagement when my consistently wanes. If I don't post 2 to 3 times a day, but that's for me, I can see like where my, stats are. I think, today my reach, 297,000 views for me in the past 30 days. And I'll take a screenshot of that so you guys can see that. That was today. We were over 300,000, 350,000 a week ago. But like I said, I've stopped posting a couple times a day, and I went to 1 time a day. But I've noticed the more I keep, post and it's relevant content, what people want to see, I get more views. Step 5, keep it professional but authentic, right? You can maintain your privacy while still being genuine and approachable, right? Your content should really reflect your expertise, like I keep saying, your professional values. Be yourself with your professional persona. Let your passion really let that come through and resonate and shine, right? People connect with authenticity, even in professional context, right? Now I know what some of you might be thinking, because I've said this before, I've thought it before. This all sounds great, but you face these common challenges, right? Perhaps you're thinking, I don't know what to post. My advice, start small, right? Your advice means nothing. It means something, right? What's one piece of advice you give to almost every client that walks through your door or you talk to, right? What's one common misconception in your field? I know a lot of you can think of something, right? That's your first piece of content. Don't overthink it, right? Brainstorm 10 common questions you get. Use AI, for God's sakes. There's your context calendar for the next 10 weeks, right? I keep running a list of questions I get asked. And like, this happens to help me make my episodes, right? Or maybe it's, I don't want to put myself out there, right? This is a huge one I totally hear people say. I don't want to go out there. I feel vulnerable. I'm going to give a shit what people think. But remember, you're not sharing your deepest secrets, right? In a professional setting, you're sharing your professional knowledge. Start with just voice or just text or simple screen recordings, right? You really don't have to be on the camera like me if you're not comfortable, but consistency builds confidence, right? The first time you're going to be horrible. The second time you're going to be better. The 10th time you'll be even better than you were the first time. And then the 50th time and the 100th time, you get my drift, right? It's like anything. The more you do it, the easier it gets. I remember my first few attempts, how awkward it felt. I was just like, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know what I was saying. And I promise, here's my ultimate reinsurance. You don't need to be perfect. Seriously, your first post won't be your best, and that's okay. What matters is starting, staying consistent, and just being genuine. People want that shit. People are dying for authenticity, right? Not over-polished perfection, right? They're looking for real value from real experts like you, right? So what's the takeaway from episode 81, right? The landscape has changed. It's shifted. It's there towards interest media, where audiences are actively seeking out, right? You and I, your specialized content should align with their passions and their needs, right? Building your brand in this era is crucial for establishing credibility, trust, connecting with your ideal audience, and really sharing that value expertise, right? It's not just social updates anymore. You can effectively build your brand by identifying your niche, right? Creating value content, choosing the right platform, staying consistent, keeping it professional and authentic, right? Lastly, don't let common fears hold you back, right? Start small, repurpose your existing knowledge, and remember consistency and genuineness are really the most powerful tools, right? Your expertise deserves to be seen. Take one small step today, right? Brainstorm a few content ideas, set up a profile on a new platform if you don't. Spend 15 minutes observing what others in your niche are doing. The journey of building your brand starts with that small action, guys, right? So listen, thanks for tuning in to episode 81. I hope this episode gave you some insights, gave you some nuggets, some words of encouragement to take charge of your brand and move forward and forge ahead, right? If you're not doing so already, please do us a favor. Go ahead and tap that follow button, tap that subscribe button on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify for the very first time, and if you're not already, please follow us. We'll see you on next week's episode.